Welcome to episode 203 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Doherty.
Hillary.
Hi.
It's been a week, girl.
Oh, God.
I'm tired.
And it's early. We're doing this very early because we have a full day today.
We do have a full day. It's going to be a fun day, though.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Yes.
So, what do you got?
Okay, so, in Florida news, Anna Escamani posted, I don't know if you saw this.
What?
About our SAT scores.
Oh.
We're 46th or 47th in the nation. And if you read the article, it's so interesting because in Florida, you're not required to take the SAT. You know, it's optional. Like if you're going to college, take the SAT. If you're not obligated to take it unless maybe you didn't pass the state reading test as like a sophomore. Then they'll have alternatives like you can sit for the ACT or SAT and try to use that score as a passing score, right? But in other states, it's mandated where every single student has to take the SAT. That's kind of like their...
So this is based on the people who actually want to take the SAT.
Correct. And we're still lower than some of the notoriously low states and places like Washington, D.C., where like they're always like the lowest because everybody tests. We're lower than them now. So thanks to Santos.
Well, and then you have that education commissioner, Diaz, right? Manny Diaz, is it?
Yeah.
Who responds to people on Twitter with like, cry more.
Yeah.
Because people were complaining about them closing schools and not paying attention to education. And he said, cry more.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. And you know, the sad thing is
we know their goal. Their goal is to destroy public education.
Yeah.
And they're well on their way.
It's going to happen.
Same thing with here in Broward. Like, I don't know enough about this issue to really comment too much on it. But we have two people that have been placed on our school board in Broward that are DeSantis appointees, you know? And so they've never been elected by people in their districts. Yet they want to fucking write editorials about how the school should be.
Yeah.
They want to make sure they want these low scoring schools to be closed so they can sell those properties and make money. Like, we have too many.
Going to go? Where are they going to go?
And also, how are these parents supposed to even fight this?
Yeah.
Like, they're not given the resources that they need. They're not, it's all fucked up. But the whole point is to dismantle and get rid of public education.
Right. And it's such a mess. And we've heard it before where candidates like a Donald Trump saying that, you know, one of the things they'll do, you know, when they're elected is to get rid of the Department of Education. And my favorite thing of Donald Trump this week, because I just thought of him now that I said his stupid name, was that, you know, he would be a dictator, but only for a day. Only for one day, you know, to clean things up. And then, you know,
let me tell you something. That I don't know if you watched the Liz Chaney.
Is that not insane?
No, I don't know if you watched the Liz Chaney interview on Rachel Maddow, but because she just wrote a book.
I didn't.
It's so fucking good. But Rachel, like, without skipping a beat, there's no even hesitation. She said, "Do you think that if he's reelected, will he try to stay in office?" And she said, "Without a doubt." Absolutely.
Yeah.
He will not leave that. And he will activate the military now. Here's where
the Civil War happens.
Yeah, but here's like where the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
Will the military take orders? Because we've seen generals come out since their retirement or right before they retire saying they don't work for dictators, right? Yeah. We had that one general say that. So like they would have to buck orders of their commander-in-chief for the betterment of the country.
Yeah, imagine that.
Because they actually work for the Constitution. They don't work for the president, right? So that's what they'd have to do. Show me in the law where this says that this is something I should be doing. That doesn't mean he can't activate his own army, his own military, his own militia. We saw January 6th.
Yep.
They're armed.
People.
They're armed and ready to go. Let me say something else real quick. Because I think we've made it very clear, at least how I feel about January 6th. That was a terrorist attack on this country.
It was an insurrection.
We cannot forget or ever let the people in power right now try to rewrite what the fuck happened that day. And they started very quickly.
Oh, and they still do it
within
now.
days, it was like, it's Antifa. No, we need to be very clear about that.
But now the language is like, oh, that was just a protest.
Yeah.
I didn't know that people, you know, defecated
No.
in
I've been
spaces
to how many
smeared it
protests
on the walls.
How many protests have you been to where you break into government buildings and start calling for looking for people to murder?
None.
Which
and
by the way,
we've been to a lot of protests and rallies in our time in the past 5-6 years.
But let me say something else to Speaker Mike Johnson, who came out this week saying they won't release this footage without the faces being blurred of the people in the building, because we're not going to let these people have to go to jail. He said this in a press conference.
No, they
talking about people who are are traitors to the United States of America, which then in turn makes you a traitor, sir.
Right.
But you're trying to protect your voters. Okay? So let's say this. The next time that happens, because you have excused this behavior away, you've excused it away, and thank God the Department of Justice is prosecuting and putting these motherfuckers in jail. But because of your excuses, the next time this happens, there will be blood. Like, they will find people, and they will kill people.
Because now you learn, right?
They know what they need to do. Yeah. This was not something... You are asking for trouble. What are you doing? And you're trying to reason with absolute fucking maniacs who are under the direction of a fucking psychopath. Yeah. Donald Trump is a psychopath. He literally is.
And the thing is, when he says he's going to be, have this one day of being a dictator,
no,
he has also said that he will come after the people. So what does that mean? Is he going to look at voter rolls and see who voted for him? Is he going to look at who's registered as a Democrat?
Yes.
Is he going to come after, local political organizations and activists? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like,
but we're not. We're at the bottom of that list. At the top of that list are Democrats that are elected, or people who have been outspoken, journalists. You think your press is fucked now? Wait till you see what happens when this fucking would happen. Donald Trump being reelected would be the end of They already tried to end our democracy by overturning a fucking election for the first time ever in our history.
Correct.
Y'all, wake the fuck up. Wake up, y'all. It's happening. And I know Biden's a walking fucking mummy. I got it. I cannot watch these fucking, when he's out there on the campaign trail. It makes me crazy scared. It really does. And I can't, but this is what we got. And I hate that.
It's the lesser of two evils.
Yeah, but.
Listen.
As Democrats, we got to stop putting that in front of people.
Right. And listen, I get it. Are there so many other better people in the world? Absolutely. But yeah, you get this absolute dictator and maniac who's going to come and attack people.
There's nothing that makes me more sick than how they're trying to rewrite January 6th. Like, that was a moment in our lives, in our history of this country, that is so significant and so important, because we saw that build up to that. Like, we knew something crazy like that was going to happen. And the fact that he has real elected people who are not, like, that is wild to me. It's wild to me, and his numbers are strong. We really, really, really need to be talking to people.
No, they've already said he's going to win.
But there's some people, he's going to get the nomination. I'm saying beat Biden, but some people are like, well, it's 4 years. It is not. No. What he did in the 4 years he was there, he did
because he didn't know what he was doing. Now he knows.
Yeah, the damage he did. Look at the Supreme Court. God. Look at what the Supreme Court. The damage he did to this country will last for generations. We can't afford 4 more years. And again, I plead with you. Listen, I'm not pro Biden. I wanted Biden to tag somebody else, anybody else, and not Kamala necessarily, but like anybody else to be the nominee. I wanted there to be a Democratic primary, but there isn't one. So we've got to work with what we've got for the sake of this country.
And I gotta say, like the other people, these other independents. And we talked about it before. I think we talked about it last week. Like the Jill Steins of the world.
Oh, bitch.
Who are running. Like, that's taking away votes from Biden. Like this woman, I don't understand. It's like, you're so selfish in this pursuit. You know you're going to lose. You know there's no way that you can win in a reality.
Right.
But your vain pursuit is greater than the greater good of the country. And any idiot who votes for anyone who is not one, and I hate a 2-party system. But at this point, I read an article in The Hill, and it was like all about like the Trump supporter and the reasons why you will never ever be able to change your mind, or and it detailed these 6 different things. And at the end, he said, I'm going to make a safe prediction for 2024. No matter who wins that election, half of the country is going to think that America is over. Like, that's where we are. And we've had elections in the past.
But you know what, though?
Where the country wasn't so,
yes, I hear you. You're right. That's what I mean. I feel like every election, which everybody's tired of hearing, including me, is like, lesser of 2 evils.
Right.
This is the election of our lifetime. I hear it.
Yes.
I process it. I know it's fucking insane, but more than ever, we know. We don't have to guess what Trump will do. We know what he will do. At least if it's Biden, even if he's taking naps half the time he's the president, we know that our democracy will be protected.
Right.
We know that. No matter what a Republican Congress does, we know we'll be okay. We know it. So, like, let's save this guy off. I don't think even Trump will survive another 4 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he'll be too old.
Yeah, but you know
4
what
years
happens?
later.
He'll have some kind of crazy, it'll be like, we'll turn into like, a dictatorship where his son automatically becomes the next president. You know what I mean?
Well,
like,
here's the other thing.
It'll just be Trump's forever.
My other call is for Democrats. Stop making us say the lesser of 2 evils.
Yeah.
By the way. Like, as Democrats, we should not be saying that.
Can we get,
we shouldn't be having to say that. We should have a fucking system in place where we know what's going on. We should never have nominated Biden a second time. That should never have happened. But we are obsessed with this nostalgic idea of, like, great men or some bullshit. Our savior. Yeah, Biden's done a good job. He has. Great. He saved us from that. He saved us from a second term. He literally did. But stop forcing these decisions on people. Stop asking the youth to get involved when you put the crypt keeper up. Stop. And that's what they see. Kids, they're on these fucking phones. They're doing this. They're visual people.
They all think that he is old. And
let's stop pretending like people don't vote based on looks. It's a real thing.
It is. Starting with Kennedy.
And it's not just like handsome. It's being able to articulate shit.
Yeah.
It's forgiving student loans. It's doing the things you said you were going to do. There's promises that have not been kept. Right. It doesn't mean I'm going to vote for Trump, but it also means give me an option that's not going to...
I know with the student loan thing, like, he gets stonewalled by,
Listen,
the Senate. But he could do, I think there's got to be things that he could do. Yeah. So, speaking of, like, old decrepit candidates, the thing that I saw that Jeffrey Dahmer's father died.
Oh.
Okay, and I was like, oh, this is what does this have to do with politics? And I'm scrolling through the comments, like, and somebody goes, oh, he's just about the right age where he could have run for Congress.
What?
Yeah, like somebody just put it as a joke. But I'm like, here we go.
Yeah.
Like, this is what people think of our political system. That some old dude on his deathbed was like, oh, seems like one of our, elected officials, or could potentially, too bad, he could have been running for office. Like, it was something like that. And it's like, this is what we've become, like a country where we only put old, nearly dying folks.
Let me tell you something.
In office.
When you look at that Gavin Newsom, or you look at a Gretchen Whitmer.
Yes.
They're both, first of all, dynamic people. And to think about one of them being the Democratic nominee.
It'd be exciting.
Holy shit.
Exciting.
Holy shit. Talk about rocking the fucking bass. What the fuck? And Gretchen Whitmer's been killing it. She's signing bills left and right. They are doing shit in Michigan that would fucking make your head spin. The same amount of horrible shit happening in Florida, they are doing it positively over there in fucking Michigan.
And we've said it. We would love to have her here. As our governor.
I would love to have her as the presidential nominee. She would have my vote. Yep. She would have my vote today.
But it's like, what is this?
If she challenged Biden, I would vote for her. He'd have a real problem in the primary against her or Newsom. Yeah. And I'm sorry. And she would have been an outcast in the party. People would have fucking called for her head. But you know what? Somebody needs to do something. And it's not some fucking nobody from wherever the Phillips. I don't know the fuck. I don't want to bring up the party. I don't want to do it. But you dumb motherfuckers. You dumb motherfuckers keep doing crazy shit. And you're getting the worst headlines. Is I challenge the Florida Democratic Party to do one goddamn good thing and get an article written about it. Do one fucking thing that's good. But you know, here's how useless and fucking nobodies they are. At their convention, like a month and a half ago, they decided to only nominate Biden to be on the ballot.
Yeah.
Nobody came forward and said Phillips or Marianne Williamson or anybody else, the other guy from Young Turks.
And nobody,
right?
Nobody
So they only nominated him, which means they send one name to the supervisor of elections, the state elections office, which means Biden's name there will be no primary in March for the Democrats.
Right.
Okay? Nobody noticed because nobody pays attention to what you guys are doing because you're fucking nobody, worthless, pieces of shit. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares. Nobody noticed until all these candidates are like, what do you mean my name's not on the ballot? Because also they're useless. How did you not notice a month ago?
Right.
Okay? So now they're threatening to sue the Florida Democratic Party because they didn't include their names on the ballot. Now, let me let you candidates know something real quick. I'm totally breaking my rule. I'm totally breaking my rule. But now let me let you candidates know something. They don't have money to hire a lawyer.
Yeah, no.
So I don't know what you think they're going to do. Like Nikki Fried maybe can step in and like argue the case. But what they've done and what the Sun Sentinel has pointed out in their editorial about this, which is very, 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 very important, is that they didn't even think about down ballot candidates.
Yeah.
We have municipality elections in March and primary elections in March, right?
Yeah.
There are very important other down ballot candidates, school board, city, county commission. There's things that need to be there to bring Democrats out. These dumb fuckers who don't come out except if it's a presidential race.
Right.
They don't come out.
And now they're going to go, there's no...
Oh, Biden's...
no
well, then I don't need to.
Yeah.
But guess who's going to come out to vote between Trump or DeSantis? All the Republicans. Yeah. And they're going to vote down ballot. Yep. In the nonpartisan races for city and school board and county commission. But the fucking Florida Dems who could not plan their way out of a wet paper sack have basically told down ballot candidates to go fuck themselves. And you know what, down ballot candidates, we already know they don't give a fuck about you. Right. We already know that. And they're defending their decision. You know, nobody at the convention stepped forward. We have rules. Nobody stepped forward and tried to nominate them. Why don't you think forward? Think forward. Think forward. And by the way, nobody's patting you on the back for it only being Biden. We're for Biden. Nobody's going to pat you on the back for that. No, Biden's not calling you up and saying, thanks, Nikki. Nobody's doing that. All you did is make less Democrats come out to vote in March. But guess what? The day that I fucking really understand that the Florida Democrats care about people voting is the day that I'll fucking die. Strike me dead. Strike me dead.
Don't put that
when
out
that
there,
happens.
girl. Don't put that out there.
When they actually show that they give a fuck about voting and not getting on a tour bus and bringing their sorry asses all over the state to talk to fucking nobodies, then I'll fucking strike me dead. God, do it.
Ooh, that was good.
Put it and then put that on my grave.
Tombstone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Struck dead by God because the Florida Dems did something right. Okay, we got it. This is 20 minutes into me. Right. I haven't. Okay, hold on. Let me tell you something. You are so lucky that George Santos is charging $350 for cameos. Bitch, you almost got a Christmas present.
Oh, guess what? You know what's so funny is
what?
My sister-in-law.
Yeah.
My sweet sister-in-law Yo-Yo. She was like, "Oh my God, you got to get this for Hillary for Christmas."
Oh my God! You know I was on Cameo. I was on Cameo,
so
and I was
hard.
like, "How much is this?" Because maybe we can split it. Maybe we can take Muck money and pay for this.
Wouldn't that be so
if George
funny?
Santos did a Muck, hey Muck podcast, hey listeners, so happy. That would be the start of our show.
Oh my
every
God.
fucking week.
Oh,
but I was like, Tina's getting this for Christmas. And I saw $350, and I'm like, maybe not.
A little too much. But I love.
They're the greatest. They're the greatest cameo. These videos are so fucking good. These cameos.
He is coming out.
Yeah.
He's just. Did you see that Jared Moskowitz posted the
in memoriam?
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, because it's like Santos and the former
McCarthy's leaving
speaker, and but at the same time, I'm like, okay, it's funny, but like.
Oh no,
the world's on fire.
No,
man.
we can't do anything serious. We can't do anything serious. Yeah, so anyway, George Santos on Cameo. Those videos are so great.
Oh,
and this,
yeah.
he don't give a fuck.
No.
He don't give a fuck.
Good
Whatever
for
they
him.
ask him to say, he
let
says
him
it.
make money.
Let's just write a script. We'll figure out the money.
Oh
Maybe
my
each of us pay a part of it, and then
Wouldn't
we'll take
that
money
be
from the
so
muck
funny?
and do an open. And he can do our opening. I'm here for this. If there is nobody who else alive right now who is more fits the bill more to open this podcast than George Santos. That's an investment.
That is. Would we have to say, can we use this for our opening?
Oh, please. No, we paid for it. We paid for it. It's not, and I think maybe if we were making money off the podcast, but that ain't happening. Although, Patreon, please. You keep us afloat. Thank you.
Thank you.
We never, okay, hold on. Let me skip that one.
Okay.
So, City of Fort Lauderdale. Yo. 10 years ago, they passed a bill that banned feeding the homeless.
Yeah.
And these stupid fuckers never thought that the press would bury them, that the public would outcry, because they were listening to their rich constituents over there in downtown Fort Lauderdale who don't want to drive through the city and see encampments. And who's feeding them? The religious people. There was a priest who was cited, a reverend who was cited. He was like 90 years old, and they gave him a citation after this law was passed. He's like,
oh, I remember
that. The old
that.
man?
Yeah,
So there's an organization called Food Not Bombs, and their whole mission is to, obviously they're anti-war, like that, but they also are to feed the homeless. And they would, once a day they set up by this encampment, by the downtown library, and they would feed the homeless, and there's a line. I mean, how is that a bad thing? But the city of Fort Lauderdale, we don't like it. So
yeah, because people were walking into the library and they're like, we don't want to see it. And really,
it's more about making people uncomfortable.
Right. But from where I remember where they were, it wasn't, you would come out.
Yeah,
you would come out of the library and you could see them like across the street,
That's right.
It wasn't, I don't know. Like,
no, it's on the same street, but it's on the side.
On the
you
side.
don't, when
it's
you're walking to the parking garage, you can't see them. It doesn't, either way, it doesn't matter. I would never go, I would never do that. No. This is people who are for no money. This is a volunteer nonprofit organization, mostly of younger people. We did work with them in the beginning with Women's March. Like, these are younger people who are going out of their way to do a service.
Right.
So people aren't going hungry on the streets of Fort Lauderdale. Well, we passed this ordinance. Oh, the way that so now after this ordinance passed, you have to go get a permit, which could have fees up to $6,000. And they're like, so Food Not Bombs as an organization sued the city of Fort Lauderdale, and the city of Fort Lauderdale lost their case because it's unconstitutional.
Right.
You can't tell people what to do in this way. So they lost the case like 5 years ago, and this Food Not Bombs, this nonprofit group, right? I mean, poor, like they're a nonprofit, had $1.5 million in legal fees. So they said to the city of Fort Lauderdale, you have to pay these fees. And it went back and forth in court. And because the city offered to the Food Not Bombs lawyers like $350,000 to settle it. And the lawyers are like, no, we had $1.5 million in bills. So
that's a lot. That's wild.
Yeah. So this judge yesterday finally ruled that the city of Fort Lauderdale has to pay $640,000 in these legal fees. Wow. So it's like the quote in the article was they split the baby, right? Like it's more than what they wanted to settle for, but it was less than what they actually should have paid. But like, what could you have done with $640,000 for the homeless?
Right.
What could you have done?
Yeah.
What?
You know,
and it's fucking crazy. We know how the city was treating those folks over there. They bulldozed their homes, like the tents, all their stuff.
All their
stuff.
It
was crazy what was happening.
People were like, it was like their sleeping bags, all of their backpacks, because they would leave it there.
Yeah.
And they got rid of they threw everything away. Because remember, then they did a whole drive.
Yes.
To try to get more sleeping bags and stuff because they had nowhere left to sleep. Like they
all their
already
IDs, their social security cards, everything was gone. And they put it in like garbage bags, and they're like, go dig through these random garbage bags to find your stuff.
Oh my God. It's
just heartless shit, dude.
That's just not how you treat people.
No.
And so many people are just so gross, and I get it because in near where I live, I have a library near where I live, and a lot of the homeless people hang out there, and where are they going to go? You know what I mean?
And these people were just trying to give them some food,
and we need to find a solution because we're seeing more and more.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
Yeah, we were just talking about it, and we're seeing more and more homeless people and we're not doing anything to help the situation.
And this is the time too, like in
you know,
Florida,
having
they come down in the
I
wintertime.
feel like there's got to be ways that we can, and I think other states have come up with ways of you know, semi-permanent housing, like things to like help people, you know, stay and then move to the next, to get them out.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know. Anyway, giant blunder.
And
That's finally
providing mental health services, providing, you know, treatment for drug addiction. Like all of this is tied together, and we just dismiss these people like they don't matter. And that's somebody's family, you know, it's somebody's kid, it's somebody's brother, it's somebody's, you know.
Listen, homeless, I think they did a survey down there. I think it was like 80 to 85% of the people that were there were there because they were like one paycheck away from losing their housing, right? And one of the women, I remember in an article years ago, had been in a car accident and she couldn't go to work for weeks and lost her apartment, and that's why she was living on the street. Like, it was somebody who was living a normal life, and then all of a sudden, that's it.
Thinking about the way that our rent costs,
right,
and all of it, like we are now like more than New York. It costs more than New York to live in South Florida. And what are we doing because the minimum wage doesn't match. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
no,
like
it's a never-ending cycle.
It's just
no, it's terrible. I don't know. Anyway, Fort Lauderdale, get it together.
Yeah.
So we never brought this up on the podcast, and I don't know why. I think because it was right, like it was like the night of Thanksgiving and the day after Thanksgiving, and so everything kind of like we weren't recording for a couple weeks, but so we received a couple of emails in the last month or so from people who've listened to the podcast and were directly involved in the stories or whatever, and we've had contact with some of these folks, and it's been an incredible experience, to be honest with you. And so my first thing is like, we need to get them on the podcast, you know, but to know that these stories are actually reaching people that are involved in them is wild to me.
It's wild.
I mean, I know we do old-timey stories, but to really think that we've received emails like this before. People who worked on a campaign for somebody who we did a story about them. They're like, yo, I worked for that person. And it's really insane to hear these stories.
We had someone's daughter once who's, you know, we covered the dad and was like, hey, I found this, and you really covered it, like, you know,
amazing,
correctly, and even though he had done something wrong, and so
it was incredible. So we received an email, which I thought was wild, from a detective and private investigator named Dr. Kent Gilpin, and this person was the private investigator that Carol Kittles hired to find Vicky Kittles and her mother after she dipped from Broward and went all over the state. So I covered Vicky a few weeks ago. I'll find the episode and let you know. But she was the animal hoarder, and her mother was never seen again. It was episode 195, and her mom was never seen again. And Kent Gilpin, when he found her, he arrested Vicky. He was asking where the mother is, and so he found the podcast because I told you when I was searching for Vicky Kittles information before our podcast, there was a couple of articles. I pulled a lot of my information from that one site of the people who were the lawyers who work, the advocates for to stop animal hoarding. But now when you search it, it's all muck shit.
Ooh,
so like he found, you know, he's an older man now. He said he's going through some health issues. But this case is one of those cases that sticks with him because he never found the mother. And so he's reached out to us.
He's still working on it.
Yeah, he reached out to us to say, if you hear from anybody who has information because they find your podcast, please let me know. I still want to do work on this. I'm still in contact with Carol Kittles. They both live in Miami. And he said, the most important part, and the part I was the most worried about, it's all in caps. If she contacts you, if Vicky, do not talk to this woman. Do not think she's okay. She's not safe. Be careful. Do not interact with her. And I was like, you know, So I wrote him back and I was like, this is incredible. He also thanked us for not making her sound like she was a savior, to telling the truth about how dangerous she was and the bad things that she was doing. I loved this letter. I loved this email. It made me feel so good.
It's just, you know, we think that, you know, we put this out and we know that we have like I feel like that we have like the people that listen to us all the time. Yeah. But it's exciting to know that, you know, that, not that we're making some kind of difference, but that we are reaching
spreading the word,
and spreading the word,
Yeah.
and having someone involved reach back out to us and say, oh, you did a good job. Like, that makes me feel good.
Especially this guy who's heavily invested
Yeah.
in this, especially, you know, the mother was never found. We still have no idea. And that is haunting to not know what happened to this woman. So anyway, I emailed him back, but he never responded. But I was like, we'd really love you to come on and talk about this case. Like, I would love to hear about
just the whole pursuit,
finding her,
yes.
what she was like there, how the family has been since then. Like, I would love to know what's going on, because this story is still, and also we don't know if she's still alive. That was the whole time I was like, is she alive? Could she be? Like, who knows? We don't know. So yeah, anyway, good email. Last thing is, we've got so much going on this weekend, but tonight, I'm going to see Rocky Horror Picture Show live. I have never in my whole life gone to Rocky Horror Picture Show live.
I didn't know that.
Ever. I actually went with my friends once, and it was getting so, I don't know, we left. I think the people were probably freaking us out a little bit.
Oh, maybe.
So we didn't go in. But I'm not scared anymore, and it's time. I'm going with Justin, who I'm fucking so excited about, because he fucking loves Rocky Horror. And there's a whole troupe that puts on a show that they interact, you know? So I am going to deck myself out in some weirdo clothes. I'm going to fucking go have the time of my goddamn life at this midnight show tonight. I'm so fucking excited. Rocky Horror Picture Show changed my life. I cannot explain that to you enough.
Good.
When Jeanette brought that tape to my house, I was 15, my parents weren't home. And she put that VHS in, and my friend Erica and I were watching this with her. My friend Jeanette loved this shit. My mind was changed. It flipped. The whole world flipped on its head when I watched that movie. And I was like, oh, this is another thing. Like, it's like seeing something for the first time that fucking flips you out. And that's what this movie did. It flipped me out in a good way. Where I was like, this is freaky ass shit. It's fucking hilarious.
Funny.
The songs are amazing. The people are so fucking cool. I was so out of my mind excited. And so I'm going tonight, and I can't wait. I'm like so fucking excited.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so all right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's see what we've got today for you.
I like it. I like having story time.
I know. It's so much better than having to do it yourself. So today, I'm covering the mayor of Chicago, Anton Cermak.
Oh, Cermak.
You know I love that Chicago girl.
Yes.
And I love New York, but I really love Chicago too. That was weird.
That's funny.
Okay. Anton Joseph Cermak was born to a mining family in Kladno, Austria-Hungary, which is now the Czech Republic. He immigrated with his parents to the United States in 1874 and grew up in the town of Braidwood, Illinois, where he was educated before beginning to work full-time while still a teenager. It was those days, you know. He followed his father into coal mining and labored at mines in Will and Grundy counties.
Dang.
After moving to Chicago at age 16, Cermak worked as a tow boy for the horse-drawn streetcar line, and then
this is after working in the mines?
Yeah.
Dang.
Like, he wanted to get out of there, you know.
I mean, but 16.
I know. On his own.
Yeah.
And then he tended horses in the stables of Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood. During the early years of his working life, Cermak supplemented his education with evening high school and business college classes.
Good for you.
Oh, amazing. So after saving enough money to buy his own horse and cart, he went into business selling firewood, and he subsequently expanded his venture into a haulage business. So this motherfucker ain't sleeping on that money, okay?
Amazing.
Yeah, he's going to do it. He believes in himself.
Imagine you buy a horse.
Yeah.
You get a little cart. You hitch it up.
Yeah.
Got your little firewood in the back, and you're going through town.
That's
right.
right.
Some firewood.
Yeah.
That's cute.
It's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
As he became more politically active, Cermak served in the municipal government jobs, including as a clerk in the city police court and as a bailiff for the municipal court of Chicago. As his political fortunes began to rise, Cermak was able to take advantage of other business opportunities, including interest in real estate, insurance, and banking. So he's now involved in the world of politics in Chicago, which we have talked about over and over and over again on this podcast. It's a crazy, fucked up city to be involved in politics.
And it's corrupt from the get-go.
From the get-go,
I don't
honey.
think you can be in office more than a day without being corrupted somehow.
And it don't matter if you got a horse and buggy. We're gonna get involved, and we're gonna fucking build this shit, right? He began his Political career as a Democratic Party precinct captain.
Ooh,
in 1902.
Hi.
He was elected to the Illinois House of Representatives in 1902. So 7 years later, he became alderman of. I wonder if, as a precinct captain, he got a booklet on what he was supposed to do.
I'm sure that he had some guidance.
Did you have guidance? Can the Broward Democrats see the book from 1902 to get an idea what the fuck we're supposed to be doing out in these streets? Okay.
Oh my God.
So 7 years later, he became an alderman of the 12th Ward, serving 2 terms, one from 1909 to 1912 and another from 1919 to 1922. So also remember, we're in the 20s. We're going to start getting into prohibition. In Chicago was a bad thing because the mob would get involved.
Yes.
I've done a tour of like on the river of all the the architectural tour in Chicago, and there's one building, and they pointed out to you where Capone would hide all his liquor. It was like he'd take a car elevator all the way up and he'd hide his liquor up there. So
nice.
Yeah, we're talking about Al Capone. Woo! Al Paisan, no? Aye. Yeah. So Cermak was elected president of the Cook County Board of Commissioners in 1922 and chairman of the Cook County Democratic Party in 1928.
So he's moving on up.
Moving up. In 1928, he was a Democratic nominee for a seat for the United States Senate, but was defeated by Republican Otis F. Glenn. Okay. In 1931, he's elected mayor of Chicago.
That's huge.
Crazy.
And now we're moving into the Depression, so this has got to be hard.
Here we go. So his mayoral victory in the wake of the Great Depression, the deep resentment many Chicagoans had of prohibition, and the increasing violence resulting from organized crime's control of Chicago. So he's not getting elected at the greatest time.
Right.
Many ethnic groups such as Czechs, Poles, Ukrainians, Jews, Italians, and African Americans who began to settle in the early 1900s were mostly detached from the political system, due in part to a lack of organization, which led to underrepresentation in the city council. As an immigrant himself, Cermak recognized Chicago's relatively new immigrants as a significant population of disenfranchised voters, which had the potential to be a large power base for Cermak and his local Democratic organization. Right?
Okay.
So before Cermak, the Democratic Party in Cook County was run by Irish Americans. The Irish first became successful in politics since they spoke English. Right. And because coming from an island, I don't know how true this is, but coming from an island on the edge of Europe, they had few ancestral enemies. So, when you come over, you don't like this country and you don't like that country and you don't like, and then you settle in neighborhoods that are just Polish, just Czech, just Jews, just Italians.
Don't leave the Italians out.
Just Italians. Oh, how can we leave them out? They're running the organized crime, Tina. They're killing everybody. But we won't forget about them.
Thank you.
Well, the Irish were pretty nasty.
Listen, not every Italian is in the mafioso.
That's why I'm very nice to Tina, because I don't know where these connections go. I'm scared. Don't sleep with one eye open when you're around Tina.
Don't mess with me.
No, I would never. I would never.
My family.
Oh, oh my god. Oh.
Hi.
No. Yeah, she comes off sweet, but we don't know what's going on. Sometimes I post those funny things on my stories because I know that you'll like them, like Polly, but then also I posted this one about the Grateful Dead yesterday, and now, I don't know, I don't want to offend Tina either, because I don't want her to she's going to come and go like this to me, and be like, oh shit, sorry. Okay, so, they had an old saying that went, quote, a Lithuanian won't vote for a Pole, and a Pole won't vote for a Lithuanian. A German won't vote for either of them, but all three will vote for a turkey, an Irishman, end quote.
Wow.
So
I never knew that.
Me neither.
Okay.
So as Cermak, and also because probably they were the ones in power, right?
Well, and maybe because they're immigrants as well, but they spoke the language that they felt like they could at least connect to, maybe another group that... spoke the language of this country and could understand their issues too. I don't know. I'm speculating. None of this is probably true, but
So as Cermak climbed the local political ladder, the resentment of the party leadership grew because he's not one of them. They're all Irish, and he's this immigrant Czech who's moving up the ladder, and they're like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Right.
We've felt that way about some people. Sometimes we're like, "Who the fuck? Where did this motherfucker come from?"
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a really good thing, though. We need people from the outside.
Not.
And sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's like, bitch, who you kidding? Okay, so when the bosses rejected his bid to become the mayoral candidate, Cermak swore revenge. He formed his political army from the non-Irish elements and even persuaded the black politician William L. Dawson to switch from the Republican Party to the Democratic Party. Dawson later became a U.S. rep from the 1st District and soon the most powerful black politician in Illinois. I want to cover him one day because I read stuff about him. He sounds incredible. So Cermak's political and organizational skills helped create one of the most influential political organizations of his day, with support from Franklin D. Roosevelt, American badass.
What?
Did you know he killed werewolves?
He's got those silver bullets.
From his wheelchair. So he had support from him on the national level. Cermak gradually wooed members of Chicago's growing black community into the Democratic fold. When Cermak challenged the incumbent William Big Bill Hale Thompson in the 1931 mayor's race, Thompson, who represented Chicago's existing Irish-dominated power structure, responded with an ethnic slur that ridiculed Cermak's Teamster past and that he pushed a cart. He said a couple of things, quote, "I won't take a backseat to that bohunk, Cermak, or whatever his name is," end quote. Now, bohunk, I looked up. Remember in 16 Candles when Molly Ringwald's dad called the fiance that greasy bohunk?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a bohunk means immigrant. Like it's an immigrant slur. Now, we know that movie is problematic, but I didn't realize that it was that problematic.
That movie is so problematic.
Yeah.
I tried to watch it again and I was like, oh no.
That's how I feel about these live albums. Listen, I've been listening to the same live album, Live from the Sands with the Rat Pack, and it's really fucking good. I mean, the music is incredible, but the dialogue, I have to skip those because when Sammy Davis Jr. comes out, it's Jew, because he was Jewish, it's Jew jokes, it's black jokes. At one point, Dean Martin says to him, "Hey Sammy, smile so the audience can see you."
My God.
What? Oh, what? And he's like, and then Sammy's like, "And these are my best friends." And I'm like, this fucker was the joke of the group. It's scary. Horrific.
All of it is.
But the music, I can't.
No,
Even Sammy Davis Jr. is so fucking, he's amazing. Okay. Another thing he said was, Tony, where's your push card at? And then he said,
Go get your shine box.
Yeah.
This is hitting Goodfellas.
Yeah. And then he said, quote, "Can you picture a World's Fair mayor with a name like that?" End quotes. Because, Chicago with the World's Fair and the Ferris wheel.
My God, racism is so ugly.
So Cermak replied, quote, "He doesn't like my name. It's true, I didn't come over on the Mayflower, but I came over as soon as I could," end quote. Pretty good. Which, kind of goes to, like, the people who are also coming over, that are just getting there.
God.
It was a sentiment to which ethnic Chicagoans could relate, and Thompson's prejudicial insults largely backfired. Thompson's reputation as a buffoon, many voters disgust with the corruption of his political machine, and his inability or unwillingness to clean up unorganized crime in Chicago were cited as major factors in Cermak capturing 58% of the vote in that mayoral race in 1931. Cermak's victory ended Thompson as a political power and largely ended the Republican Party's influence in Chicago. Indeed, all the mayors of Chicago since 1931 have been members of the Democratic Party.
Wow.
Come on.
Wow.
Give it up for that fucking shit.
Wow.
Because Chicago is super Democrat. Now, the state varies, Illinois. But Chicago, which is where the main power is Democrat.
A city with colleges.
For nearly
Why would they be blue?
For nearly his entire administration, Cermak had to deal with a major tax revolt. So here's the pushback.
Oh no.
Right? We don't like it. Republicans, we're going to make you suffer.
Give me a break.
Yeah. Which ends up making the city suffer, not Cermak, but it doesn't make him look great, but it also is like people suffer for that. From 1931 to 1933, the Association of Real Estate Taxpayers mounted a tax strike. At its height, the association, which was headed by John M. Pratt and James E. Bister, had over 30,000 members. Much to Cermak's dismay, it successfully slowed down the collection of real estate taxes through litigation and the promotion of the refusal to pay. In the meantime, the city found it difficult to pay teachers and maintain services. Cermak had to meet with President-elect Roosevelt and to request money to fund essential city services. A 1993 survey of historians, political scientists, and urban experts conducted by Melvin G. Hawley of the University of Illinois at Chicago ranked Cermak as the 25th best American big city mayor to have served between the years 1820 and 1993.
Dang.
Amazing, right? Okay, so here we go.
Uh-oh.
On February 15th, 1933, while shaking hands with President-elect Franklin D. Roosevelt, American badass, at Bayfront Park in Miami.
Oh my God.
Which we've all been to,
yes.
right?
Oh, the concert's there.
Yeah. Cermak was shot in the lung and mortally wounded by Giuseppe Zangara, who was attempting to assassinate Roosevelt. Now, we need to talk about this. You want to talk about your paisans again?
Listen.
We're going to get into this,
I can't control the Italians.
I mean...
Wow.
So, let me tell you just a bit about Zangara, then we'll go back into him. But Zangara was born on September 7th, 1900 in Fruazzano, Calabria, Italy.
Oh, he's Calabrese.
Calabrese. After serving with the Italian Royal Army in the Tyrolean Alps during World War I, he did a variety of menial jobs in his home village before emigrating with his uncle to the United States in 1923. He settled in Paterson, New Jersey, and became a naturalized citizen of the U.S. in 1929. So back to the shooting, because we'll get into Zangara.
What's he got against FDR?
We'll see. So at the critical moment that he was about to shoot Roosevelt, Lillian Cross, a woman standing near Zangara, hit Zangara's arm with her purse and spoiled his aim. So it hit Cermak.
Wow. You know, this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
These tiny little
changes the course of history.
Yes.
Yeah. Lillian Cross with her giggly arm
Yes.
fucking didn't kill Roosevelt. Which is good because we needed him to kill those fucking werewolves.
But it just blows my mind.
Yeah.
It blows my mind.
Yeah. Those little moments, right?
Yeah.
In addition to Cermak, Zangara hit, because he was like boom, 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 he hit 4 other people. Margaret Crewis, 21 of Newark, New Jersey, she was shot through the hand. Russell Caldwell, 22 of Miami, hit squarely in the forehead by a Spence bullet, which embedded itself under his skin. Mabel Gill of Miami shot in the abdomen, and William Sinnott, a New York police detective who received a glancing blow to his forehead and scalp. All 4 of those injuries were minor, like nothing, deadly.
Abdomen is, I mean, scary.
Survives, right?
Thank
So
God.
once at the hospital, Cermak reportedly uttered the line was engraved on his tomb, saying to Roosevelt, quote, "I'm glad it was me, not you," end quote. Now, the Chicago Tribune reported the quote. The Chicago Tribune reported the quote without attributing it to a witness, and most scholars doubt that it was ever said. But it's fucking gold, baby.
Yes.
You gotta make sure that you have that in the story.
Right.
Chicago Tribune, it's okay. Let's fucking let it go. And they put it on his tomb, so it's there now.
It must be true.
Yeah. If it's engraved in stone, it's real, baby. It's real. What's that movie where there's like, it's a reenactment of Jesus with the tablets of the 10 Commandments. It was 15, and then he dropped one. He's like, now it's 10 Commandments. It's not. And they were like funny. I forgot what it was.
Like
it was
Brian. It's
maybe.
Was it Monty Python?
I think so.
Oh my God.
No, it's only 10. Oh my God. So Zangara told the police that he hated rich and powerful people, but not Roosevelt personally. Later, rumors circulated that Cermak, not Roosevelt, had been the intended target, as his promise to clean up Chicago's rampant lawlessness posed a threat to Al Capone and the Chicago's organized crime syndicate. So there's all these like,
because he's from
maybe
Chicago
it's this.
as well. Like,
yeah,
if
like
it was
why?
some rando guy from Miami, maybe different.
Oh no, he's not from. What's his name? Is not from Chicago. Zangara. He was from New Jersey.
Yeah. Jersey. Okay, but still north.
Yeah, like why was he there? What was he doing? So one of the first people to suggest the organized crime theory was reporter Walter Winchell, who happened to be in Miami the evening of the shooting. Longtime Chicago newsman Len O'Connor offers a different view of the events surrounding the mayor's assassination. He has written that Alderman Patty Bowler and Charlie Weber informed him that relations between Cermak and Roosevelt were strained because Cermak fought Roosevelt's nomination at the Democratic Convention in Chicago, which doesn't make sense either. Author Ronald Humble provides yet another perspective as to why Cermak was killed. In his book, Frank Nitti, The True Story of Chicago's Notorious Enforcer, Humble contends that Cermak was as corrupt as Thompson, and that the Chicago outfit hired Zangara to kill Cermak in retaliation for Cermak's attempt to murder Frank Nitti. Now, I don't know.
There's no evidence that he was involved in this other plot.
No. So,
That's wild.
Yeah. Well, all
this
these
is
theories.
the other great thing is all the theories that come out after something
But
like
then
this.
we'll get into this. But so Cermak died at Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami on March 6th, partly due to his wounds, which is my birthday. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
That's sad.
I don't know why I have to apologize.
Yeah.
I feel like I have to apologize for everything.
No.
I'm sorry. Does it sound sincere if I go, I'm sorry?
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But my eyes, like, one's closed. It's so dismissive. I'm sorry. And you gotta leave your mouth open. Okay. So on March 30th, however, his personal physician, Dr. Carl A. Meyer, revealed that the primary cause of Cermak's death was ulcerative colitis, commenting, quote, the mayor would have recovered from the bullet wound had it not been for the complications of colitis. The autopsy disclosed the wound had healed. The other complications were not directly due to the bullet wound, end quote. So ulcerative colitis is an inflammatory bowel disease that causes inflammation and ulcers in your digestive tract. So,
because he might like bleeding because it wasn't
healing. Yeah. Cermak was, and also feels like that's of the time. You know, men are eating shitty and like gross and drinking and like this guy's all Cermak was interred in a mausoleum at the Bohemian National Cemetery in Chicago. The mayor's death was followed by a struggle for succession, both to his party chairmanship and for the mayor's office. A plaque honoring Cermak still lies at the site of assassination at the Miami's Bayfront Park. We gotta go. We gotta go.
We gotta take a trip.
It is inscribed.
We'll take the bright line down.
All right. Maybe.
Hopefully we don't hit any people on the way.
Oh. That was terrible. It is inscribed as Cermak's alleged words. That's what Justin told us. Justin was on the Bright Line drinking champagne with Alfredo and some friends, and they hit somebody on the way down to Miami, and they were drinking champagne, and it went, and they were like, what happened? And the train stopped, and they looked out the window, and Justin saying to this woman out there, like, what happened? And this woman went to him, like somebody was killed. And he's like, I put my champagne down because I don't feel like we should be drinking anymore.
Right.
I think Alfredo kept drinking, by the way. I think Alfredo was like, ooh, we gotta go to Miami.
Well, listen, maybe you have to numb the pain because I would be freaked out.
Yeah, I'd be like, where's that bottle? Absolutely.
Yes.
So, this plaque is inscribed with Cermak's alleged words to Roosevelt after he was shot, saying, I'm glad it was me instead of you. Following Cermak's death, 22nd Street, a major east-west artery that traversed Chicago's west side, and the close-in suburbs of Cicero and Berwyn areas with significant Czech populations was renamed Cermak Road. In 1943, a Liberty ship, the SS A.J. Cermak, was named in Cermak's honor. Crazy, right? Okay, so let's talk about the aftermath with Zangara. Because basically he's crazy. Like, I don't think anybody hired him. If the mafia wants to kill somebody, you'll be dead. They'll wait till you come back to Chicago. They know those streets.
Right.
And they'll kill you there and get away with it. We know that Valentine's Day massacre, like, they're not, there's, you know what I mean?
There was like a mob presence in Miami.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to hire a crazy person.
No.
Like, if you want the job done, get it done by somebody who can get it done. Not somebody who's like, a fucking Looney Tunes, which this guy was Looney Tunes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Zangara confessed in the Dade County Courthouse jail, stating, quote, I have the gun in my hand. I kill kings and presidents first and next all capitalists, end quote.
Well,
he pleaded.
I don't know.
If you're going to have a motto, baby. And by the way, killing capitalists, welcome to America. They're on every street corner. You can't throw a fucking rock without hitting a goddamn capitalist here.
Maybe instead kill capitalism.
That's kill the idea.
Yes.
Kill the movement.
Not people.
Yeah, leave this motherfucker alone. Zangara, okay, so he pleaded guilty to 4 counts of attempted murder and was sentenced to 80 years in prison.
Wow.
So this was for the 4 people that were hit with the bullets, right? As he was let out of the courtroom, Zangara told the judge, quote, 4 times 20 is 80. Oh, judge, don't be stingy. Give me 100 years. End quote.
Wow.
All right, he's nuts.
Yeah.
Come on, everybody.
Well, he's like, well, what does it matter now? You got 80. What's 100?
But also,
you ain't coming out.
Also, he learned his multiplication. He knows his times tables, bitch. Don't test me. I know what 20 times 4 is.
Oh my god.
Zangara was promptly indicated. Zangara, which seems important at the time. Yes, I'm a murderer, but also I can do my maths.
Yes.
And the maths is not mathing. Zangara was promptly indicted for first-degree murder in Cermak's death. Because Zangara had intended to commit murder, the fact that his intended target may not have been the man he ultimately killed, that was not relevant, as he would still be guilty of first-degree murder under the doctrine of transferred intent. There were worries that Zangara's defense would argue that Cermak's death was not a result of his bullet injury, right? Like because of the colitis, you know? A theory questioned whether Cermak's death was caused by medical malpractice on the part of the doctors that were treating him. In the end, he pleaded guilty to the additional murder charge and was sentenced to death by Circuit County Judge Uli Thompson.
Wow.
Zangara said after hearing the sentence, quote, "You give me electric chair. I no afraid of that chair. You one of capitalists. You is crook man too. Put me in electric chair. I no care," end quote. This is all like exclamation point. So,
I don't care.
You know what I mean? He's out there. Under Florida law, a convicted murderer could not share cell space with another prisoner before his execution, but another convicted murderer was already awaiting execution at Rayford. Zangara's sentence required prison officials to expand their waiting area for prisoners sentenced to death, and the death cell became death row.
Wow. Wait a minute. This is when
death row became Florida. Wild. After spending only 10 days on death row, which is another crazy thing.
Yeah, because now you're on there for years.
Zangara, who refused to appeal his sentence, which of course always drags out, was executed on March 20th, 1933 in Old Sparky, the electric chair at Florida State Prison in Rayford. Zangara became enraged when he learned no newsreel cameras would be filming his final moments.
Wow. He wanted notoriety.
Yeah.
His final notoriety.
Yeah. His final statement was, quote, "Viva Italia. Goodbye to all poor peoples everywhere. Push the button. Go ahead. Push the button." End quote. Like, what the fuck's happening to make you go like, just fucking kill me? I'm good.
Wow.
Like, I'm good.
Wow. This story is crazy.
I feel like when you die, your last word's gonna be like, "Viva Italia!" Like, Tina's gonna be like dying. "Viva Italia!" Girl.
But the fact that he's like, push the button, I mean.
Yeah.
How scary.
Dude, that chair, we just talked about this a couple weeks ago, remember? It's a scary looking chair. Maybe, you know what? I don't have it in my photos right now, but I'll include it. It's like a wooden chair. Mm-hmm. And then they put this like, almost like an upside, like they put a steel bowl on your head.
Well.
And fry you.
Yeah. I think they're supposed to, I believe, like tape. Aren't they supposed to like tape your eyes?
I mean, everything happens. You lose you lose the like being able like
everything.
You evacuate, right? Everything. Did now I'm trying to remember. Did Ted Bundy die in that chair, or was he killed with like chemicals?
With lethal injection?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let me look real quick.
So this story, I just watched last night.
He died in the electric chair.
Oh.
January 24th, 1989. I remember that. I was in 5th fucking grade, and I remember being at school, and they saying Ted Bundy's going to be electrocuted this morning.
Yeah.
Not the teachers, but like on the radio on the way to school.
Yeah. I remember like the news covering it.
And the time, remember it was early in the morning, and like I remember thinking Ted Bundy's dead right now.
Ugh.
Girl, Murderino in 5th grade.
Yes, girl. So I've been watching, it's a 3-part series on Apple. I started it last night with my son. And
what is this?
It's John Lennon, Murder Without a Trial.
Ooh.
I gotta tell you, like, first, I'm gonna give the caveat that I've been emotional lately.
Girl, move over, bitch.
And
move over. So
I'm watching this, and like, you know, what do I know? I don't know John Lennon.
Oh,
no. But watching, like...
No.
The thing that was like the saddest is there were the people who were there that day, the concierge who's at that hotel every day that knew him.
Yeah, apartment building.
And you know, just other like the doorman, like all these different people, and going back to that idea of like the doing one little thing, like this one guy goes, I normally did this and I didn't do it that day, and his best friend was like, I normally ride home with him. And I didn't that day, and I was wondering if I would have ridden home, would I have seen him? Would I have?
God, who knows?
And they're all crying.
Yeah,
they're all sobbing, and because they feel so much guilt. So
a genius was stolen from us.
Oh my God! I mean, it goes into like they talk to the nurses at the hospital, the ER doc that worked on him, like all the
I don't
people.
know if I could watch that.
It is so hard to watch. But then now they're dealing with the police detectives and the people who were dealing with Mark David Chapman.
This
the
fucking
taxi
blowhard.
driver. The taxi driver that saw it happen, he goes, I was waiting there, and he goes, oh, this is where John Lennon lives, and he was bringing a fare there, and he goes, oh, I've never seen him in person before, like, this could be my chance to see him.
Didn't he have his album, like, he wanted an autograph? Didn't he get an autograph from him earlier in the day?
Yeah, but now this is at night, and so the taxi driver's, like, there, and he sees it happen, and he goes, I thought it was a movie. He goes, I thought that, like, maybe they were shooting a scene from a movie, like, because he couldn't believe what his eyes were seeing.
Yes!
And then he's like, and I looked around, and there were no cameras and lights in, and he goes, oh, my God, this is real.
Oh, my God.
You know? And, like, oh, wild. But now, like, they're showing footage of Mark David Chapman's wife, and, like, footage of him calling the wife from the jail, and, like, it's so interesting, but it's such a loss, and like it's such a loss. But now, and it's also talking about like what Yoko Ono did, and then they show like Ringo like leaving, like he had gone, you know, and because he and I guess and John were like I think the closest out of all of them, and he's like trying to leave, and he's like, you know, everybody's out there like, oh, I love the Beatles, I love this song, and he's like, I don't care about that. Like that was one of my best friends, like. That's my band. Like, leave me alone. Yeah. You know, like, wild. It was really good.
Yeah, it was.
So I have the last part to see.
There's so many artists like that will like, what would we have gotten from them?
Right.
A Kurt Cobain even, or Marvin Gaye.
Oh my God.
Like, it's just so many people who are tragically lost that we never know.
And my son, you know, because he is a huge Beatle. I mean, huge. Like he knows. Like
he's mad at me that I didn't like that song, the new song.
Well, and he also knows like the old like Beatles songs that nobody knows.
Yes.
Where he's like, "Are you a real Beatles fan? What about this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What's the title?" I'm like, "I don't know."
Please tell me not to become one of those people.
So we're watching, and he's like, "Did you know that there was another person on Mark David Chapman's list?" And I said, "I didn't know this."
Wait, it was. I think I do know this.
Do you know this? It was David Bowie.
Wait, maybe I did know that.
Oh, I did not know that. And I was like, imagine, like
imagine.
Well, and then so now the nurses said that when he passed, when they walked out of the ER and Imagine was playing.
Oh yeah, I did see. I saw that on a news thing. I saw that. I saw that. Like the Muzak, right?
Yeah.
Listen, it has got to be one of the greatest losses, as far as music and like influence of peace. And
like people, it just, even the detective, like, you know, like when they first saw him and then someone goes, that's John Lennon. And he's like, what? And then in the ER, someone's like, that looks like John Lennon. And they're like, no. And then they look in his wallet, they're like, holy shit. You know, like imagine that, like just, it was good. Mm-hmm. I still have the last part to see, but I was like crying, like.
No, he's
It was a lot. And it's like, why do we care? Why do we care about
these
musicians and people that have no connection to us?
No.
But it's like music. It's my God. Like, and the people that have, you can hate the Beatles all you want, but my God, what brilliant minds.
No.
And what talent.
They're not just people. Listen, Mark David Chapman's a lunatic, but like, to go so far, I don't think that Phoebe Bridgers is my best friend.
Right.
That would be insanity.
Right.
But to know that I've connected and can relate
to the music,
to the things that she says makes you feel close in that way, and you feel protective of that artist or whatever.
Well,
like absolutely.
And the music connects to so many different moments.
And emotions and who you are and how you feel.
I will hear a song and I'm like, oh God, I remember being here with this, you know, and I think that's the thing with music. It's like it connects to so many.
Yes.
For people who love music, like that, it connects to all these different moments.
It's a trigger. It can trigger you,
and you're like, man, like I will cry sometimes because it'll bring up a memory. You know, like,
forget it. It's the greatest gift we've ever been given. Yes. It is.
And
it's a gift.
To see someone who, you know, was about to come back and be like sort of his own thing outside of this group that was this phenomenal force in his life, you know. And to come back and like be your own artist and
really sad.
And have this moment.
But also he's a family. He has a family.
Oh God.
His son was so small.
His little one, yeah.
You know,
it's
5. It's just so fucking sad.
No, it's terrible.
But even Julian, who had his dad here and there and wasn't really around because he was with the Beatles, didn't get to have that sort of connection with his father.
It's terrible.
Listen.
It's terrible. But anyway.
Well,
if you haven't seen it, see it.
I was telling you that I saw Godzilla -1 last night.
What does -1 mean?
I don't know. My son and I are still trying to figure out. But let me tell you something. Let me tell you something right now. My son's obsessed with these like Godzilla sort of ancient monster movies anyway. This movie is so fucking good. It's Japanese. It's subtitles.
Oh.
It's emotional. There's a love story intertwined in it. It is a broken
so it's
man.
Like original Godzilla.
Yes. Let me tell you, one of the best movies I've ever fucking seen.
What?
Girl? I went into it, I was like, all right, we'll go see Godzilla. The whole time I'm grabbing my son, I'm like, oh my god. And then there's this end part where I'm like crying. It is so fucking good. It is so fucking good. And like just, again, a community coming together to take down this fucking monster is like the fucking thing. And everybody's upset, everybody's sad. It's right after World War II, 1, 2, what are we talking about?
I don't know.
Japanese, it's gotta be 2.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know the setting. It doesn't matter.
1946?
Oh, World War II.
Okay. That's what my son was telling me. I'm like, I don't know. I always get those two confused. But the whole area is destroyed anyway from bombings and the Americans dropping bombs or whatever. So then now they've got to come together and fight this fucking monster. It's so good. But it's so good too because it is like original Godzilla where the monster moves like this.
Yes. Do you remember watching those movies as a kid? I love them.
Watching them walk in this, I'm like, all right, so he's knocking some buildings over. Who gives a fuck? But then he gets his heat ray where his son goes, like, oh my god. And my son goes, he's got to recharge. And I'm like, wait, what's happening? God. It's so good. You got to see it. You have to. One of the best movies of the year.
Okay. You know what? My youngest would be about this movie.
He would love it. And it was so entertaining. And there's slow moving parts, but it really builds these characters. And you get to the part, like, the other thing that I really loved about it, this is not really a spoiler, but like, you know how it's a monster movie and you got to kind of wait a couple beats to like, where's the fucking monster, right? This fucker's in there the first 5 minutes. Godzilla shows up and I'm like, what? Already? Like, we're here?
Oh, we get...
Dude, it's so
There's
fucking
no build
good.
Up. He's just like, boom.
And he's getting hit with shit and my son's like, this is how he recharges. I'm like, what? Like, you can't kill him. He just builds on that. Like, every time you hit him with a bomb, it makes him stronger. I'm like, how the fuck do we get rid of this fucking thing? It's so fucking good.
I can't wait to see this.
Godzilla. Go see Godzilla. It is to die for. Loved it. Anyway, let's go.
All right.
Okay, so here's the thing. We are going to have one more new episode that'll come out on December 20th. And then on the 27th, we are going to be doing a wrap-up with our executive producer. We'll be in the studio.
Yes,
AKA
live.
my house, AKA my dining room.
Live.
Live. No more bobblehead. We're going to have the real fucking thing.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about our favorite stories that we covered this year. And we're going to do
like
who's the best political stories of the year. And also like winners and losers in politics in 2023.
Yes.
So make sure you're staying tuned. Thank you for listening.
Yes.
Thank you.
Aww.
We love you.
We love you so much.
We love you so much.
You're so lovely.
All right. Well, can you get? Don't. I don't know Latina and I, because I'm afraid I'm gonna get the
Malocchio?
Costa Nostra's gonna come at me.
Are you telling me I'm gonna give you the Malocchio?
Are you gonna give me the Malocchio?
I'm not gonna do that. I would never give the Malocchio. Not to you.
Okay. I have a list though that I'd like to give you. Here's my list of people that I usually give the Malocchio to. I'm starting a list.
Oh my god.
All right. I'll see you next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.